If you don't deal with that situation, the situation you got is over.
As I grow older, the one thing that becomes clearer to me each and every day is that I don't owe anyone a thing, and neither do you. I've seen a lot of people pollute their potential after sipping from the well of entitlement. This is certainly true of many of the people I've been associated with over the years, even my own son. What they need to understand is that you should never feel like the world owes you anything. It doesn't. You must accept that it's all on you. That might seem like a very cynical way to view the world, but I would argue that it's actually liberating. You can only feel betrayal when you feel like you're owed something from someone. You can only feel resentment when you had expectations for assistance. When you accept that it's all on you, only then can you finally be free to focus 100% on being the best version of yourself.
A lot of us are in the circumstances when it's starting where there ain't no plan B. Shit gotta work. If it don't work, what's gonna happen? You know, so if you're in that point and position, you go, what's working? And you start to get influenced or you sway to what's actually working at the moment. And your music changes, it starts to sound a little bit like what's happening on the radio right now. I've heard demo tapes from 10 different Lil Waynes that wasn't Lil Wayne. You know what I mean? I was like, damn, he got that shit down pat. That shit sound like Lil Wayne did, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, and then it's tough, like how do you say that it's not good? If what's working right now is that. You know what I'm saying? So you go, damn, like it's good, but it's hard for me to really embrace it because you ain't Lil Wayne. Like, you want me to invest the money in the copy? No, man. That shit ain't gonna work, man. The situations, and even in the 48 Laws of Power that Robert wrote, there's some things in there that you might feel like are evil, but you need to be aware of them because someone else's intentions might be very well what that law of power is. You know, so like when I got a chance to talk to him, we even brought it down to a perspective of a person that's in a staff meeting that is watching someone else raise their hand and answer a question that they know the answer to. And that means that person deserves to be ahead of you in life because your fear of being wrong at that point is not allowing you to create your value in the workspace.
Have you overcome fear? I mean, you were shot 9 times in the year 2000. In terms of dealing with fear, I suppose you're not scared of anything after that.
Well, when you're in life-threatening situations, it makes you a little more conscious of that. You know, and the more that you are aware of your fate, the higher the probability you have a chance to live. So you're a little more free. Like I go into what Robert kind of identified as the core of my power is me being in business situations and being the person with the least fear at the table. And that's because I weigh these things up against my biggest losses in my life. So like the loss of my mom is the biggest thing that I've experienced. So walking into a room, even at the worst possible scenario, it won't damage me to the point or hurt as much as that hurt it. So I'll go in there in a secure space, able to speak and ask the questions, and I'd rather feel like I'm unaware for the moment within those quarters than to feel like I'm unaware in a losing situation. I thought I was ready in '97.
Right.
And I didn't have a major record company marketing to promote my project until 2003.
Right.
You know, so for that time period, I had to run on my own energy. You know, I had to convince myself that I'm gonna make it. You know, regardless of how people felt at that time. And what it does is it makes you feel like, well, it made me feel like there's gonna be points that people are gonna mistake my confidence for arrogance. Because they don't understand the process I went through and how much I had to believe in myself in order to make these things happen. I feel like you can will yourself into a good space. Like, things that are meant to happen will. And if you believe in yourself enough, you can help yourself learn. you can inspire, yourself in different ways where you can actually discipline yourself, to the point that you can become good enough. Like from '97, like when I started writing, it was full time. Like every day I was writing music because I had no choice. If I was gonna stop hustling, then how was I gonna provide or continue the lifestyle that I created for my son's mom, my son, and myself? I think the things you go through make you who you are. So I don't regret those things. I don't regret them because I don't think I'd be who I am today if I wasn't exposed to those situations. If you ask me, would I, those are unfortunate situations that I've had to experience. If I had a choice, I would have definitely went in a different direction. I might have wanted to go to school for business instead of having to go through this portion of my life. After the actual shooting, I went through a process. A lot of people won't be honest because their image would be up if they went through the actual experience, but I went through a portion of me actually being afraid. The experiences, I was hurt physically, I was hurt bad, so I was afraid and I was uncomfortable with being afraid. And the only time I wasn't afraid is when I was actively involved in actually looking for somebody connected to it. You look at the bushes, when I see the bushes, I look through the bushes. Paranoia from the experience of actually being hurt heightens your senses to everything, possibilities and things happen. It shifted me. It's either when you get hurt that bad, either your fear consumes you or you become a bit insensitive and you start to approach the problem instead of running from it. No matter how much you feel like you're prepared for something, it never happens on your time, like when you think you're ready, like it's supposed to happen. It always happens when it's supposed to happen. Because the period that you feel ready and people are not acknowledging the material the way you feel like they should because it's good, is the time that you actually develop skin thick enough to survive when it does work. I'm not interested in the financial outcomes. I want to continue success, but there's no specific mark of finances to the work. Because to be honest with you, if I'm sitting here with you a year from now, 2 years from now, and they're like, you did it, you're a billionaire. I'm gonna still be saying, yeah, but I got another idea. Right. A new idea, and it's what I think is representation of a person who's truly ambitious. Because ambition isn't a learned behavior, it's a part of your natural character, and you always find something to be passionate about, or a new goal, or a new... You see guys sell companies $5, $6 billion and go, yeah, okay, now what's the next one? I'm a rapper, entrepreneur, a person that has doesn't see limitations. I'm a person who has high expectations for myself. And when I actually start to look at some of the things that I've accomplished, and I become a little more interested in my legacy, like what people remember me as, is what made it more important that I involve myself in philanthropy. Because the people that resonate the strongest in their absence have done more for people when they were actually in good positions.
I'm gonna take it in. I'm gonna absorb everything that's going on and get what I can get. Ain't no school for this shit, stupid. Ain't no school for this shit. You gotta be smart enough to pick up the information as you go.
It's why I'm here. There's nothing that can actually compare to when it's right. What it feels like when it's right. The music is just dead right, and it's like that energy that's there. Man, it's a special kind of high that you get addicted to, and you'll chase it for the rest of your actual career. When you feel that feeling, whether it's your first album, second album, third album, just a single, because a lot of artists have a career long enough for one song. You know, but when you feel what that feeling is, you ain't gonna replace it. I even brought it down to the perspective of a person that's in a staff meeting that is watching someone else raise their hand to answer a question that they know the answer to. And that means that person deserves to be ahead of you in life, because your fear of being wrong at that point is not allowing you to create your value. Guys, this is crazy. I grew up without money, but I didn't grow up hungry. What's going on in this world is out of control. I mean, there's so many people suffering from hunger. I mean, dying from hunger every day. I went to Africa And the devastation I witnessed changed me forever. I mean, to see people who don't know when they're gonna receive their next meal or if they're gonna receive their next meal, it's crazy. I wanna feed 1 billion hungry people, and I need your help to do that. This is our world, these are our streets. I need your energy. Let's do this.
I was crazy enough to believe what the f I was saying gonna happen was gonna happen. And that's why I was persistent enough and consistent enough to exist now. I don't want to see a nigga who had it and don't got it no more. Really, I think them books is there in order to make remember that shit, because they ain't ready to do that shit they did then now. They love me. You know why they love me? They think like me. They feel like me. And even after I play basketball, they smell like me. Nigga, we the same. We come up the same corners. We ain't had much. You understand what I'm saying? You just gotta hustle. Nigga, you gotta go hard, man. You see it playing games, man? You don't get as far as the motherfuckers you talk to for no reason. You'll be successful as the motherfuckers that you talk to for no reason. What I mean is, if you spending your day talking to a nigga that ain't got nothing going on, what the kind of information can he offer you? Can he help you learn something? Can he teach you something in the conversation?
Well, you know, everyone is not actually going to be prepared to take the time to actually utilize the information that's given to them. Like, if you pay attention and you actually keep whatever information is coming in front of you, that you choose what's valuable. But the things that you do here that are valuable, if you make it your business to keep it, even if you have to write it down, so you have to say it to yourself or whatever, and you just keep, the person says something and you go, what did you just say? Hold on a second, put it on my phone. And hold on to it until it becomes a part of you in the way you actually would express yourself at different points. And then you develop a more advanced presentation, and I got that from Robert. It makes me feel like there's opportunities there, and that they're not actually seeing those opportunities. It makes me feel like without having everything that comes out of my mouth be something that you would say, that guy's a role model, I'll be an inspiration and inspiring to the people that come from the circumstances I come from. And it gives me a bigger responsibility, not just myself, but for other people, so they can have an example of how they can make it.
If you don't deal with that situation, the situation you got is over.
We look at this as one family, one crew, one band. We're gonna have a great tour. We're ready to finish this up here in about 8 or 9 days, take it to Miami, and have a great run.
It's like the Wild West, the Wild Wild West. We need to write the new rules. Believe in yourself, even if anyone else believes in you. You got to have ultimate confidence, and just believe in yourself. The biggest motivation that kept me on my grind, just knowing to represent for a whole culture of people. It wasn't bigger than myself. You know, I love what I do. I love making music and love creating, but it's bigger than myself. There's a knowing in being an artist. There's a knowing. You can't guess. You can't think. There's a knowing. You have to know that even if it doesn't work today, tomorrow, I think when it all is said and done, you will play that music more than any other music, right? So you have to have this knowing that, okay, it may not work today, it may not work tomorrow, but this is the right thing, and this is what I'm doing, and this is what's feeding me. So that would be the best advice that I can give you, that knowing. Just believe in what you're doing. And if you don't believe in it, then you're not doing it. You haven't figured out the thing that you do best yet. When you feel it and when you know, no one can tell you. You only have to be right once. For me, it was like actionable item. What are we gonna do with it? Like, everyone heard, and we hear what you're saying, and everybody know I agree with what you're saying. So what are we gonna do? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, as an artist, I've always held myself in high regard and respect. And if I'm in this position or in a space where I feel like the level of respect that I earn as an artist is being compromised, I'm going to speak about it. If you can provide effective ways to push a conversation forward and help people at the same time, I'm really into action. You know, I'm really into like real work. I'm not into like how it looks. You know, how it looks only lasts for a couple months until we really start doing the work. And everybody, oh, I've been in this position many times where people, before I even say what I'm about to do, have told me what I'm thinking or how it's going to turn out. And then 5 years later, you know, we look back at, take titles, a great example for, take that 5 years ago, and now you look at it today and people have a different outlook on it. But at the time, it was like, what's going on? So I've been in this position many times, and, you know, I just show up and do the work. I'm not really interested in how things look on the outside. And if protesting on the field is the most effective way, then protest on the field. But if you have a vehicle like Inspire Change where you can speak to the masses and educate at the same time as well, tell people what's going on so people are not controlling your narrative and not telling you your protest is about this. You're like, no, I'm telling you out of my mouth it's about this one thing. You know, but if you have a platform that's reaching millions of people, it's hard to steer the narrative the way they want to. You know, we need something that happens every day, because there's things happening all over this country, and it's a lot of turmoil. And I think that we all have a responsibility to just push it forward. Like, it's good to have, like, you know, conversations about it. That's great. We have to bring awareness to it. So I'm not knocking the conversation. I actually welcome the conversation. I want to be held to a higher standard. I'm not even gonna say higher standard. I want to be held accountable for what I'm doing. Right? It keeps me sharp. Keeps me sharp. Let me know that I can't play around. I have to do what I said I'm gonna do. I'm self-motivated, so that's fine. You know, the extra pressure is fine too. People have to evolve, and people have to want to be better, and people have to want to have conversations. And, you know, I mean, this is the real world. You can't say, oh, you made a mistake, you're canceled. I'm never speaking to you ever again. That doesn't accomplish anything. You know, so that's what I believe. I believe real change is had through conversation and real work. You know, wanting to do things. And America in general looked at rap as this fad thing, or looked at our music as fad. It's the #1 genre in the world and has been that way. When people tell you, oh, rap is #1 now, that's 15 years ago. You just can't hide the statistics now because of streaming. The streaming numbers are so outrageous that you can't hide it. But in 1998, rap was the #1 genre. I feel honored to be in these situations that I could use my voice and do the things I do. You know, it's an extension of my family. It's like the things that I do. I tell my family all the time. I tell my grandmother, my mom, you know, they're proud. They're super proud and strong women, and they won't ask me for anything. And I say, man, you know, there are times where I don't want to get my picture taken, and I want to eat, and you know, paparazzi like take photos in your face and screaming at you and like taking pictures, and you can't take your kid to the park. And I'm like, those are the sort of things that give the reason why I'm okay with it, and why I can cope and live with these things without, you know, much as a complaint. Is the things that it allows me to do, the spaces that it affords me, the rooms I'm allowed to go in as myself. I walk in every room as myself. I don't walk in any room as anyone else. I'm not cowering, I'm not speaking soft, my voice doesn't change, it sounds exactly the same way. I'm walking as myself and proud, and I speak for us, and that gives me a joy. I'm honored to be in those rooms. And there's a solution for us. If we had a power base together, we would have much different conversation than me having a conversation by myself, trying to change America by myself. If I come with 40 million people, it's a different conversation, right? It's just how it works. I can affect change and get whomever in office because this many people, we're all on the same page. The goal is not to be successful and famous. That's not the goal. The goal is, if you have a specific God-given ability, is to live your life out through that, one. And two, we have a responsibility to push the conversation forward until we're all equal. Until we're all equal on this place, because until everyone's free, no one's free. And that's just the fact. It's hard. It's hard to hear songs back. It's hard to perform songs. But I feel it's the most important work that I've done, and I'm very proud of it. And the effect that it's having on people, and even like the studio sessions. You know, we were having 4-hour conversations after playing one song. I learned so much about people that was around me, just my friends. I learned things about them that I didn't know. That in 20-year relationship just from this one song. So I knew it would have that sort of impact beyond myself. It's my responsibility as an artist to go to these places. Oh my goodness, oh, the most beautiful things are not these objects. The most beautiful things are inside. The most beautiful things are the friendships I have. I have really like golden friendships that, you know, most people don't have. You can have all the watches and paintings in the world. You don't have a friends like I have. The friendships I've acquired and the compassion and the person I've become. Like that's what this chapter is. You know, and the conversations with my mom. Those are the real enriching experiences. You can't sacrifice others for your life. You know, there's a karmic debt that has to be paid. Had I had the level of consciousness then that I have now, things would have turned out differently. And just knowing that, I definitely want everyone to know that.
Well, I'm a person that believes everything that happens to you in life, it happens to shape you as a person. You know what I'm saying? Every struggle, every challenge, everything that's placed in front of you is to see how, you know, strong a person you're gonna become. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I truly believe in that. So I just, like any problem that you had, like in your life, you look back and you thought like, I'm never ever gonna get over this. This is the worst thing ever. I'm gonna go on from here. You look back, they all past you. You know what I'm saying? They all behind you. So
it's like, you know, don't listen to anyone. Everybody's scared. You know, everyone tells you how things worked out, but it worked out for you that way. So don't listen to anyone because their experience is unique to who they are. You know what I mean? And then a lot of people will try to put their fears on you. You can't do that. No, you can't do it. Right. You know what I'm saying? So they just projecting, they're putting things that they don't believe that they can do on you. These are people that come from the same place that I come from. And we're talking about Can I Live? And I'm singing that song and people are looking at me like, I understand, I feel you. Do you understand how much you've affected my life? Or people that listen to my albums that get them through situations, you know, and even illegal activities, if we're being honest, you know. Chains is cool to cop, but more important is lawyer fees. That statement alone changed how people went about, you know, and you got the biggest hit of your record, but that's not really you. That's like, now you're really a prisoner because you have to live like that every day. And imagine like putting an image out there that's not really you, and then it being really successful. You know, then you have to live up to that every day. That's you know. And I never wanted to be that. And I certainly don't want to be the guy who gets successful and then just pulls away and just, you know, I can't go out, I can't have a bite to eat, I can't, you know, walk to the store, I can't. Nah, that's not gonna happen. They're movements. I've heard this many times. This is not me just saying this. I've heard people come to me like, man, that line was so powerful for me. It made me put things in perspective. If I had a 600 Benz that I was driving up to the projects in my mother's house, but I didn't have any lawyer money. And, you know, it made me prioritize something differently. You know, my life, identity, who we are. This is Rockefeller. You know, we love you, Def Jam, and thank you, Universal. But this is Rockefeller. You know, we've been doing that from day one. So I'm well versed in that fight. So I don't have any fear. I don't have any fear with working with Samsung. You know, because I'm not gonna let them, you know, put a phone on my forehead. That's just never gonna happen. It's like that era when art and music were one. You know, when Basquiat was hanging out with Donna and Fab Five Freddy and all those worlds were colliding. Because we have to realize, you know, hip hop and the arts was like this. Because we both were outcasts. We wasn't allowed inside the galleries or inside of Yankee Stadium. We were both outcasts. You know, we were writing on the street and making music. It was one thing. But then art got into the galleries, and then hip hop almost disassociated with it because it was like, oh, it's this bourgeois thing. It became something else. We would play that music more than any other music, right? So you have to have this knowing that, okay, it may not work today, it may not work tomorrow, but this is the right thing, and this is what I'm doing, and this is what's feeding me. So that would be the best advice that I can give you. That knowing, just believe in what you're doing, and if you don't believe in it, then you're not doing it. You haven't figured out the thing that you do best yet. When you feel it and when you know, no one can tell you. You only have to be right once. You know, my uncle, he was telling me, like, my uncle said I never sold 1 million records. I sold 1 million records like 1 million times. You know, so he was, I'm sure I'm his nephew. I don't think he meant any malice.
He wanted the best for you, but
he just was projecting his fears and things that, like, are you crazy? How are you gonna do that? How? You know, I'm sure there's things I do now that he can't believe that I was able to accomplish. But he couldn't even see it at the time. So he was just projecting, putting his fears on me. So the whole thing is just, you know, and always believe you're great, even before anybody else believes it. You know, most people that were successful growing up from where I was from never came back. So it was never a dialogue on how'd you do it, what happened. There was no mentoring program there. Was no going back and grabbing a person and teaching them, you know, trade or, you know, what it is that you do, and then that person go back and grab 2 people, and then, you know, and then it goes from there. So I figured I'd start with school. You know, my first album came out, I was 26, and I had seen so many things in the street, so my attitude was like, man, I've seen so much, and, you know, I don't have anything to prove. I know who I am. I'm a very self-aware person. You know, so when you're self-aware, even when you're dealing with someone's ego, you know when to allow it to, you allow their ego to live in its own space. You know, the problem is if when you engage that energy, that's when there's a problem. If you engage the ego with your ego, then it's like, okay, now something has to happen. It can keep escalating to a level that can be irreversible. You know, but if you don't engage the ego, if you know how to manipulate or play around with the ego,
but that's weight in itself to people.
And you give light back to darkness. Right. It's very difficult to the track and the hook to Holy Grail. You know, way back then. You know, so I can't say I officially started then. I had pieces of music and ideas, and then, you know, with Timberland and we caught that vibe, then it was a pretty short period of time. It was over a couple weeks. It was over, you know, maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3. Let's just say 3 weeks, and it was done. Even for anyone else believes in you, and just believe in yourself.
I hope you found that video inspiring. Make sure you hit subscribe as we release more of these videos. We want to see you crush it with your music dreams. We have a brand new book called The Truth About the Music Business, what every artist needs to know before they sign a record deal. Pick it up on Amazon right now or Audible. Listen to the narration, I'm narrating it, or click the link below and get it off our website. Hey, want to remind you that a fighter isn't someone who never fails. A fighter is someone who never quits. So keep fighting for your music dreams.
Someone was asking, like, if it's how much of it's miserable and how much of it's not, and I was just like, it's 50-50. Half of it's horrible and the other half is completely unbelievably amazing and like completely priceless.
Her name is Billie Eilish, and she has her own story of struggle, anxiety, but she still continues to make music and makes a difference, which I hope inspires you to keep fighting for your dreams. This is Chris, also known as Manifest from Smart Music Business. Hope this interview and video inspires you about Billie Eilish. Let's get into it.
It's so annoying to feel like this all the time. All the time. And it's like, if someone's like, oh God, you fall apart so much, like you're so annoying, like you're always fucking like sad. I'm like, I know, I have to be in this bitch all the time. Like I'm aware of how annoying it is.
When you kind of are falling in love with someone or realize you're falling in love with someone, it can be scary because even though I'm really young, like I've gone through stuff like that, and you're not in control and you can't really be in control even if you try, which is terrifying.
All I did was go to shows and be in the pit and like mosh and shit. Like that's all. I did it alone a lot. I would literally like leave my friends. If we were at a festival or some shit, I'd leave my group. And I would always, you know, I would hop the little gate between general admission and VIP, right? Just, you know, my little ass. Yeah. And I would jump to the front and I would go all the way to the front, wherever it was craziest. And I would just mosh my head off, like, and not think about anything. And like, that was like where I found happiness, and like, that was something that really hit me pretty hard when all this stuff started happening, because I can't do that anymore. Like, I just can't. And like, you know, I could wear disguise. I'm like, well,
It's not the same.
I
You just
can't
wanna
do it
be
as
yourself.
me.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to, you know? So, I don't know. But it is what it is. Like, I can't.
It was at the Crocodile in Seattle, and it was like 500, I think. That's what I said? Whoa. That's so cute. That was, the best one I've had was Music Midtown in Atlanta. 40,000 people. Such a dream. Oh my God, such a dream.
Let's talk about Ocean Eyes. How did this song come to be?
So my brother wrote it, and he kind of just came into my room one night, and he was like, I have this song, and I want you to sing it. I sang it, and it was like weirdly exactly what I was going through at the time, which was weird. I felt like he like jumped into my head and like wrote a song that was from my brain, and I just kind of fell in love with it.
Ocean Eyes was about something you were kind of going through at the time. What were you going through, and how did it come out in the song?
I was really into this boy with this curly brown hair and these deep blue eyes. Whenever I looked at him, I just like got lost in his ocean eyes.
Whoa. Ugh. Don't be so sad. It's such a waste of time. I didn't live up to that then, and I still haven't lived up to that. So, it's good advice though. It is a waste of time, dude. It's ruined so many things that could have been amazing because I was sad. Dumb, but whatever. Don't post everything you think. Don't. Just don't. If you're watching this right now, anybody, if anybody is watching this, don't post your feelings. Don't do it to yourself. Nah. Yes. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's the kind of pressure that's like, it hits me and then I don't care. Everybody dropped dead right now, and I didn't. I would be left with what I had created for myself. And what the hell would the point be if I was just creating something that somebody else wanted me to create that I had no say in, and then that person died, and everybody else died, and nobody mattered except me? I'm stuck with this shit I didn't want in the first place. That's trash. No, I'm handling the pressure horribly, but I just keep it to myself. All the time. Except my wall. I write everything I feel on my wall, so if you go in my room and you look at my wall, just, yeah.
I think I know way too much already. Way too much. I think I have seen more than anyone my age should see. I don't know. Yeah, I know too much. I definitely know too much about the industry that I'm in, about the people that I used to know, about the people I know now, about myself.
Letting myself be mistreated for a long time. I had no idea what the fuck was coming. Not really. Yeah, I was really mistreated, and then I just realized I was better than that, and since then, I feel like I've just grown to know my worth, I think. It's taken a minute, and I don't think I'm there yet, but I'm getting there. Aw, Billy was so hurt then. I was so hurt then, man. Shit. I want to learn that it's all worth it, because it's tiring as heck, and it is worth it, and I have to remember that, because being with like fans and doing shows is way more important than being tired. Is it worth it? Yes. The shows make it worth it. The shows and the supporters. That is something you have to remember when it doesn't feel worth it. Because a lot of it doesn't feel worth it, but then you get to the points that do make it worth it, and it's like, then it all sort of makes sense and it kind of clicks in your head. No matter what you do, you can never, ever, ever please anyone ever. Ever, ever. Facts. Still true, never not true.
Someone was asking like if it's, like what's, like how much of it's miserable and how much of it's not. And I was just like, it's 50-50. half of it's horrible and the other half is completely, unbelievably amazing and like completely priceless. So it's okay to do the trash.
And that line is basically like, you know, there's all these perfect people, and nobody's perfect, but perfect people around me, and it's like, well, what's wrong with me? The most important thing right now, though, probably would be maintaining my happiness, which I've been experiencing for like the first time in many years lately, which is really cool. And not that my fans aren't like also the other most important thing in the world, and doing shows is also really important to me, and doing crazy shows especially, but I want to stay happy. That's a big goal for me. Back then I thought it was like the biggest it was ever gonna be, and I thought, you know, it was the most I was ever gonna be recognized, and it was the most anyone's gonna know me, and it was the most money that I would have, the most clothes I'd have, the most shoes that I'd have, and what's crazy, it wasn't. Success is not how well people know you, it's how you're like looked at. I genuinely did not think people would care. I like can't even stress it enough. I can't believe people care so much about me. It's crazy to me. I really, really hate myself. You know, you can feel so unbelievably lost and horrible and like you're nothing and you're invisible and for no reason at all, which is almost worse than having a reason. It's the way that my brain works, and it's like, you know, Billy, what's wrong? I don't fucking know. Like me, that's what, and it's like, who hurt you? I'm like, for the first time in my life, I don't feel the need to be with anyone. For the first time in my life. I don't have my eyes on anyone. I'm not in the mood. I don't have enough stamina for it right now. And I'm totally fine with that. So, who knows? I'm open to it.
I'm looking in the mirror and I'm saying this all to myself. You know, it's like, it's weird because that song I'd say is, you know, I write a lot of fictional stuff and I write a lot of stuff that's just storytelling because that's, it's fun. But that's the song that's kind of, I think, the realest and the closest to, you know, what's really how I feel inside and what I felt for my whole life, really. And I think it's one of those things that's like, everyone's looked in the mirror and not wanted to be the person in the mirror. Everyone. You know, you can be like the luckiest person on the planet. You can have all you want in the world and whatever. And no matter if you're happy or sad, you can look in the mirror and not want to be that person. I like this life that I have. I like being famous. It's very weird, but it's very cool. And I feel like I can say that now because I used to hate it. I hated doing press and I hated being recognized and I hated kind of everything that had to do with it. There's a lot in fame that's fucking gross and horrible and just miserable, but I'm very grateful for it and it's really rare and it's really, I'm very lucky. So I'm so done with complaining about it. I complained about it for so long.
Just like some big ball of darkness.
But I'm like not though, and it's like I'm just taking my agony and things I go through and making it into art instead of like
holding it in all the time.
Jumping off a roof.
Yeah.
You know? And like that's, I don't know, it's just like I don't know, I love my job. I love it. But there are also parts of it that are like more miserable than you could possibly imagine and make me want to quit. But no, though. That's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that, though. There's moments like that. It's like if you're on your fucking period and then everything seems like...
Everybody's like, I just want to die and eat chocolate and like, this is never going to end.
That's what it's like.
Yeah.
There are parts of my career that feel like I'm on my period sometimes.
Hey, I hope this video inspired you today. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you see the more videos that we got coming out. If you have not read this book yet, The Truth About the Music Business, what every artist needs to know before they sign a record deal. Every artist has their struggle, but we wrote this book to share all the stories and all the knowledge you need to know before you sign a deal and to build your business, invest in your music career before you end up selling all your rights, all your royalties, all your publishing to a label. You build up your business first. You grow your music career, then that way you have something to negotiate with. Get it on Amazon or go to smartmusicbusiness.com/The Truth. This is Chris Greenwood, also known as the artist Manifest, reminding you that a fighter isn't someone who never fails. A fighter is someone who never quits. So keep fighting for your dreams. Peace.
I made a lot of songs. When I think back about how many songs I've actually made, I don't know how many I've made, but I made a lot of songs. And I make a lot of songs for each album. But I always try to approach each song slightly different. And even if I can't, like, okay, I've got a song that maybe was kind of like this 10 years ago, you know, let me put a little twist on it. You know, it's kind of, that's kind of the mind frame. And I write and write till I can't, till my brain hurts. And I write
for like 3 hours listening to it over and over and over. And I caught something new every single time. And it's like, it's going to take, you know, till about 2021 or some shit before everybody really gets all of it. And I'm talking about avid fans.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, when you write in that type of, on that level, you know, like you said you just put it in anyway, even knowing that it could slip by people's radar.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, there's a certain kind of fan that will get that, and there's a certain kind of fan that might just be the average listener who doesn't, you know, they like hip hop and it sounds good, something sounds good to them, right? But they might not understand exactly what we're doing,
how dope it is.
Yeah, but that's what's dope about those reaction videos, and also the people who break down the lyrics and they show you, like, okay, he was hitting these syllable schemes right here. Every single syllable, there's 5 syllables there or 7,
right?
And he was hitting these right here, and he started a new syllable scheme, rhymed with that syllable scheme, and then came back at the end and rhymed with the first. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that helps people, like, really
to understand the genius.
Yeah, to
zoning off of one joint. Stop in the limo, hop in the window, shop in the demo, at gunpoint.
Yeah.
The outer rhymes are 2 syllables. The inner rhymes are 5 syllables.
Yeah.
That's, in my opinion, what makes you one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah, but that's, to me, my opinion back to you, because when we did what the fuck was it? My House. Like, this is me and Royce joke about this shit all the time. We're like, fuck, Crook's gonna be on this song. All right. But we joke about that shit all the time, because it's like, you and him, to me, make verses that, even if you lay them first, they're untoppable. So it's like, I can only hope to tie at best.
That's a big compliment from you, dog.
But bro, when you did in my house, the lights out, the utilities in the facility, the life out, to wipe out. I forgot the next scene, but utilities in the, like, he was rhyming all that.
Right.
Like, that shit was like, and being able to keep it going, like, that's what I think a lot of the average listener sometimes might not understand, that this, you know, because some people don't catch the syllables. They think that we're, you know, rhyming, you know, my house, the lights out, utilities in the facility, like, house rhymes and out rhymes. You know what I'm saying?
Right. They're not catching the full scheme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not catching the my house, lights out, lights out, to wipe out. Like, there's 2 there, but then there's utilities in the facility.
Yeah.
Same thing. It's like, that's the beauty to me of the craft of emceeing. You know what I'm saying? Like, is that.
That's important to you.
Hell yeah. Yeah, because it's, and I know it's important to you because it's what makes rap fun, right?
Right.
So sometimes we might be in the mood to, like, not to write a song that might not have a message to it.
Right.
Might not really be saying anything that's important.
Right.
But it's more about the craft, and we're just trying to go as hard as we can go, you know? And I think that to me is what makes it fun.
Right.
Is being able to, you know, when you thought of the, hey, bro, I'll go ham for dead presidents. Like, you feel something, right? When you think of that, you're like, oh shit.
Like, oh shit, that's kind of ill.
Okay, yeah. All right, let me figure this out. Let me sit down with this scheme and figure it out. But that's to me, man, is the beauty of something about the pen and paper. To me, is better just because I can look at all my ideas and I can see them at once. I can keep ideas on my phone too, but like I don't feel like, oh man, what was that thing I said that one day? Shit. And scroll, oh fuck. For me, I remember which side of the page it's on. I keep a book and write my ideas down in that, because I'll at least remember, was it the beginning of the book or was it towards the middle? And I'll remember what side of the page it's on. When I get ideas, I might get a track sent to me, somebody might do a beat, and I hear the beat and it's like, oh shit, I like this beat, but none of my ideas I got already are gonna go to this, so I need to make new ones. So that's how a lot of things don't get. I love battle rap, the competitive spirit of battle rap, and me coming from that scene can always appreciate that. And I understand, you know, I don't know if everybody coming up in this generation or even the listeners understand, like, or maybe not even understand, maybe they do understand, they just don't care about multi-syllable rhyming and, you know, wordplay and metaphors and similes and things like that. But me, I pay attention to it. I know how hard it is to do it. You know, it's not something that's easy, and when I do hear people do it that kind of do it effortlessly, especially in the battle scene, I can always appreciate that, because it's like, man, that was, oh shit. Yeah.
When you perform Lose Yourself on stage, and it's such an important part of the show, it's one of the biggest songs in your canon, and one that people always look forward to hearing live. You know, you think that's probably the only time you probably think about that song is when you're on stage and you perform it at that point. You must feel different about that, knowing how it changed your life. That song totally changed your life. I mean, your life was changed before that, but that's when things went completely crazy.
Yeah, I think that, you know, in a way, it's like I guess if there was no 8 Mile, there would be no Lose Yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because I needed that movie. That movie gave a little different, a slight edge of inspiration that I don't think I had back at that particular time.
Yeah.
You know? It was good because doing that movie kind of put me right back in certain elements, and, you know, it made me, for some reason, feel hungry again.
Yeah.
You know, like just the whole battle rap scene.
You could see it on the screen.
Everything.
You could totally feel it in the movie. And, you know, I just, if you hadn't done it, if you hadn't actually thrown yourself into that workload, into those kind of sleepless nights of just trying to think like about the image of you writing that song. I mean, wasn't it literally like writing and recording it in your trailer on the set overnight?
It was like being a hamster, and you're just going from one cage, one wheel to the next. You know, like it was a music trailer, and it was the trailer where I got to learn the lines, you know, learning the scenes and
writing the rhymes and
then writing and trying to record, and then trying to, you know, get a little workout in here and there. Like I was just going from one trailer to the next workout trailer, going to the, you know, to the studio trailer, then back to learning the lines, and then in between takes, I remember like writing in between takes, like writing on my hand because I didn't have a piece of paper at the time. And like I said, it was fun, but it wasn't.
It wasn't. Yeah.
It was intense. It was intense.
Would you like to kind of work in cinema and do more things like that, exec produce?
Listen, it depends on what it is. You know, I make music, and whatever comes along that seems like it might be interesting or fun, because at this point, I just want to have fun with it, you know? Like, I just want to make sure that whatever it is something that I'm passionate about and that I believe in, you know, because otherwise, just going through the motions.
Hey guys, it's Chris here from Smart Music Business. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope it inspired you like he's inspired me. I remember going to a rap battle years ago, and they were throwing away free prizes, and I caught the album 8 Mile for the soundtrack, and just that movie and everything just really inspired me. And it's because it's the underdog story, right? We all have an underdog story and gone through it. Like, nobody started at the very top, right? So many of these artists and musicians fought for their dreams. And so if you have not read or listened to the book
Fighter, 5 Keys to Conquering Fear and Reaching Your Dreams. I want you to read it. You can get it on Amazon or Audible for free with a 30-day trial. I'll put the link below. But this is actually sharing my story and how we ended up getting signed and firing the record label. And now we have over 900,000 monthly listeners. And so everyone's got a story. You've got a story. So I wrote this for you to inspire you on your journey. So pick it up. It's called Fighter, 5 Keys to Conquering Fear and Reaching Your Dreams. And just don't quit. You got this, my friends.
Now, before we go any further, I have to thank someone. I have to thank Edgar Winter for allowing K-Tel Records to include his legendary instrumental Frankenstein on their 1975 blockbuster compilation. It was this record that my sister and I bought at the drugstore down the street and brought home to play on the public school turntable that my mother would borrow from school on the weekends. It was this record that changed my life. A veritable who's who of 1975 radio hits. But it wasn't KC and the Sunshine Band's That's the Way, I Like It that made me want to pick up the dusty old guitar in the corner. No. And it wasn't Dave Loggins' Please Come to Boston or Silver Convention's Fly Robin Fly that made me want to jump in a van and leave the world behind for music. No. It was it was a riff. I gave it all up for a fucking riff. Interestingly enough, though, that song is completely instrumental. There's no vocal. It's drums, guitars, keyboards, percussion, each getting a solo in the song. No vocals. But what I heard in all of those solos were voices. The voices of each musician, their personalities, their technique, their feel, the sound of people playing music with other people. It made me want to play music with other people.
A drum set. I couldn't fit a drum set in my bedroom, and my mother surely wouldn't allow me to have it in the living room. So I was learning how to play music by ear. So listening to Beatles records on my bedroom floor with a Beatles songbook, but without having a drum set, I would set up these pillows on my bedroom floor and I would play along to records. I kind of came up with my idea of drumming and how it should be done. It's like wild with inconsistencies, and I'm sure there's plenty of things that drum teachers would smack my hand for doing, but I appreciate doing it the way that I do it. I don't think I'm the greatest drummer in the world, but when I sit down at a drum set, I'll just pulverize it. And it's kind of what I do.
With where the industry is headed, the idea of making money off a record really changing, what would you tell 4 guys in a garage that had a good batch of songs? What would you tell them to do today?
Go play live. Just play live. I don't understand the industry. I don't understand where music is headed. I don't really understand technology. I just know that when you walk into a club and you see a band that blows you away, you are going to follow that band. You're going to either buy their CD or you're going to find them online or you're going to see them the next time they come to play. You don't have to stand in line at the song contest on TV to become a fucking popular musician. You know, fuck product placement and fucking labels and A&R people and all that bullshit. It doesn't fucking matter. I swear to God. It doesn't matter. And if you back that up with the idea that just playing those great songs in your great live band is enough reward for you, then you're fucking set. But you gotta be badass. You just have to be really good. It's the other things that make up for your musical inability.
You know? I wanted to be a drumline kid. Like, I wanted to be a drumline kid. Why not? But I can't read music. I couldn't then, I still can't now. All I wanted to do was be in a line of drummers all playing drums.
I was decent. I wasn't like your level. Like,
Dude, stop saying I'm a good drummer because I'm the most basic fucking drummer. If you listen to Nevermind, the Nirvana record, I pulled so much stuff from the Gap Band and Cameo and Tony Thompson. All that. That's old. It's old disco. That's all it is.
Can I not hear that?
Nobody makes the connection.
That's straight up Gap Band.
I told Tony Thompson that. Came to my house for a barbecue with somebody, and I was like, man, I just want to thank you because, you know, I owe so much. I've been ripping you off my whole life. He goes, I know.
Whoa.
That big disco flam. Like, it works every time.
You write really cleverly about the moment you hit the big time, really, watching Smells Like Teen Spirit on MTV.
The punk rock underground was kind of like ethically suffocating. You know, you were conditioned to reject any sort of commerciality or conformity, any sort of like top 40 radio, things like that. So then when your band becomes popular, like, what do you do? Like, how do you reconcile those two things, or how do you justify that, you know? And it's difficult. I mean, it's one of the things that really affected Nirvana. None of us ever thought that we were going to be this gigantic band. We were perfectly comfortable in our little corner of the underground, doing it the way we'd always done it. But unfortunately, Kurt's songs were so good that millions and millions of people connected to it. And so you could either see it as a blessing or a celebration, or you could see it as some sort of curse. And there's this weird guilt and shame in that, which I think is really dangerous. I think it's dangerous because when you were young on your bedroom floor, there was no guilt then. When you were learning to play an instrument or learning to write songs, there's no guilt then. Anyway, so because of the emotional place I was in, I started writing the lyrics to this song. And they come from a real place. So the song started to come together, and I wanted to record it quickly so I didn't forget it. I had a friend named Jeff Turner in Washington, D.C., one of my old punk rock friends from the 80s. He had a studio next to this great bar called the Black Cat on 14th Street. And I said, hey, could I come in and just do a demo really quick? He said, sure. And without having it fully formed, I just kind of went in, I put down a drum track, I put down the guitars and the bass, and I sang it into a microphone for the first time. And it did seem to make sense. The lyric and the melody at the time where I was, emotionally, it all made sense. And I think that that's what songs should be. They should be something that not only the tone or the melody or dynamic of the instrumental, but also the lyric match in a way that it represents how you feel at that moment. I was left to my own devices and devoted every waking hour to playing music. It became my religion. The record store, my church, the rock stars, my saints, and their songs, my hymns. Springfield, Virginia wasn't necessarily known for breeding rock stars. A career in music never really seemed possible to me. It just seemed too good to be true. Surely the faces on my Kiss posters weren't getting paid to do this. Gene Simmons, imagine. But that never mattered to me because I had finally found my voice. And that was all I needed to survive from now on. The reward of playing a song from beginning to end without making a mistake, well, That was enough to feed me for weeks. The discovery of a new chord or a new scale could make me forget about that kid at high school who wanted to kick my fucking ass, or that cute chick with the lip gloss and the soft sweater I had a crush on who wouldn't give me the time of day. I liked my new voice because no matter how bad it sounded, it was mine. There was nobody there to tell me what was right or what was wrong, so there was no right or wrong. Now, as much as I wanted to be in a band, I was there, alone in my bedroom, day in and day out, with my records and my guitar, playing with myself for hours. I would set up pillows in the formation of a drum set on my bed and play along to records until there was literally sweat dripping down the Rush posters on my walls. Eventually, I figured out how to be a one-man band. I took my guitar, and my crappy old handheld tape recorder. I put one cassette in this tape recorder, and I hit record. I took this cassette, put it in my home stereo. I took another cassette, put this in the handheld recorder, played it back, hit record on this one, and I would play drums. Take this cassette, put it back in the home stereo, rewind it, play, and there you have it. At 12 years old, I was multi-tracking songs in my bedroom, all by myself.
Hey, it's Chris here, Manifest from Smart Music Business. I hope you loved that video with Dave. He truly is a fighter, and I want you to keep fighting for your dreams, and that's why I want you to listen to the book, Fighter, 5 Keys to Conquering Fear and Reaching Your Dreams. It's popping up on your screen right now. You can get it on Amazon. Go to audible.com, get a free 30-day trial, and you can listen to that book. I'm narrating it. I just want you to remember to keep fighting for your dreams, because it's not about how you start, but how you finish.
I didn't know how to run a label. He'd always say, you need to get a job. You need to do something with your life. I wanted to prove to him that I could be successful with music. I mean, most people, when they think of success, they think about money. Like, how much money did you make? That is absolutely not the right way to think about success. Success is how you feel about yourself. And success doesn't have to be this grand moment in your life, because that just doesn't happen. There's no grand moment. They're all little moments. I think success, it's like at the end of the day, it's what you make of it. For me, it's just, you know, finding happiness within yourself. Everything starts off small. There's no like A to Z. You have to go to B first. Everything starts small. My first shows, I was playing for 5 people, like a quarter of the people in the room. Some of them didn't even want to be there, honestly. But I pretended like it was like you know, like a big deal. You know, I didn't really pretend. I was like, this is a big deal. That's the problem with social media right now, is that you're comparing yourself to people that have like this large success, and you're like, I want to play there. But you first have to go with what you have in front of you and make that meaningful. And that's why I always say, like, when I'm performing, I'm trying to be as present as I can. And I don't want to think about anyone outside these 4 walls. I really want to think about everyone here. And whether it's like a a smaller show, a bigger show, like these people are here for me and I'm here for them. And that's all that matters. And you do that enough times, it's like in the end, it will grow without you even realizing it. It's like you have to be grateful for what you can get. Plain and simple. Like, be grateful for what you have, because that's, like, we're lucky to even be here. I think it's that feeling to be just lucky to be on the stage playing in front of people, lucky to be sitting with you and talking about this. My book, I have a book out, it's crazy. Like, still, it's crazy, you know, like, I have an official book out with a great publisher that, you know, is going out there. You know, all these things, it's like being grateful and being present, right? So that's another great book, The Power of Now, that I turned into a song, is like the power of being present, you know, and that helps you with this idea of this notion of, you know, the 1%, let alone the 30%, the 1% that you can get is the feeling that's the most important feeling. Because you're gonna get 1%, but you have to attempt to get that 1%. You have to go for it. You know, I mean, hopefully you get more than that, but I think if you keep trying, you're gonna get something. And you want to keep growing it. So I think that's like, it's the power of being present and like really being beholden to the gratitude of what you have. Now smoke. So like, there's a lot of things in my lifestyle have changed, where it's better for me as a human being. I'm happier, and I can work with a clear head, and I can work, you know, with, you know, I have maximum potential at every show. There's times, of course, where you get to a point where you're exhausted, mentally, physically drained. I swear to God, you just get like that 8 hours of sleep or whatever, and I wake up and ready on to the next one. All I want to do is play my music to new crowds all across the world. You leave the show remembering like those specific faces and people that you're touching with your music, and that's what drives me to continue to tour at the level that I'm doing. Music is just one tool to connect with people. So we have comics, we got food, obviously fashion's been like a continuum that I've been following since I got into music. I want to work with people that, you know, are doing very interesting things, and I respect what they're doing, they respect what I'm doing. I want to find a way to draw those bridges and share those stories too. When I started my band when I was 16, I was making the t-shirts, screen printing them. I was at Kinko's making zines with my friends and building from the ground up. So in the end, you take that same model and you put it into investing in different things. It's like you have to believe in this brand. You want to be able to support and represent that brand. When I'm in this room making fashion, how am I going to connect my passion, my interests to, you know, not just my fans, but people in general? And when I'm in the studio, when I'm making music, I'm thinking about how do I connect my music to more and more people? How do you find that secret spot that's right in front of you, but not too far ahead? Because if you go too far ahead, you go right over everybody's heads and you've lost the mark. And that question, if you can answer that question, you're golden. At the end of the day, I want to bring happiness to people. I want to bring an emotion that they haven't felt before that's unique to an experience that I give them. Whether it's through music, fashion, whether it's through telling these stories, comic book form, is to bring that feeling. That's the goal. That's the goal of happiness.
The one commodity that is most valuable on this earth is time. Time to love, time to live. From the moment the human body is born, it begins dying. Some happen faster, some happen slower. Some of us help them happen to go faster. Some of them prevent it from happening sooner than later. How many seconds, how many minutes do we waste every day doing things that are nowhere near the goals and aspirations and passions that we have inside? How many times do you go through the course of a day and realize, did I do anything I set out to do today? Write down those goals each and every day. No matter if it's 2 goals a day, if you can accomplish those, then you're doing more than just making it through the day. You are living and achieving your dream. Find time to better yourself, read, explore, research, live life, do things you've never thought of doing before. That's what it's all about. When you're born, that's that date that they put on the left side of the tombstone. When you die, they put another date on the right side of the tombstone. But that dash in the middle is the most important thing on that tombstone. That is a line that throughout that entire time frame, you were able to impact and touch others' lives. You were able to leave your mark on this earth. You were able to build a legacy that nobody could change. You were able to have it to where people remember who you are no matter what. When you're living for that dash in the middle, you're going to remember your why. Your why you're here. Not the why did you do something. Your why, your reason for getting up in the morning, your reason for pushing yourself past the brink of exertion and giving up. Your reason for moving on and getting things done in life. That dash in the middle, that's the thing that pushes you.
How do you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of your physical appearance, in terms of your health? Do you take care of yourself? Are you allowing yourself to get overweight and out of shape? Are you conscious of your health? Are you watching the food that you take into your body? Do you make a deliberate effort to exercise? You know, it was George Burns who said, we cannot help getting older, but we don't have to get old. And many of us get old before our time because we don't take time to take care of ourselves. Your environment is a very good indicator. On a scale of 1 to 10, is it what you want it to be? Do you find it desirable? Are you satisfied? The job or career that you're involved in. Someone said that 85% of the American public are unhappy with their jobs. Are you spending 8 hours a day just doing time? Doing something that you don't find challenging, that does not make you stretch mentally, that does not stimulate you, that does not inspire you. Something that you don't find a sense of fulfillment in it. If you're doing that day in and day out, it has to affect how you feel about yourself, your level of motivation. Your relationships. What kind of impact is it having on your life? Is it nourishing or is it a toxic relationship? Does it drain you or does it build you up? Ask yourself that. How motivated are you to do something about it? Your contribution, your actions. What are you giving? Many people will leave the universe without a trace. No one will know they were here. And in fact, under their name, we could put under there, not used up. Will anybody know that you came this way? What contribution are you giving? What will you leave? What will be different because you came this way?
Just stop for a second. Write down your why. What are you doing this for in life? If your why doesn't make you cry, that's not your why. Again, if your why doesn't make you cry, then that's not your why. Your why should be something so big that it moves your family tree. Your why should be something so big that it changes the whole outlook on how things are with you and your home, your family, your religion, your purpose. Think about your passion. Think about your opportunities. And that's how you find your purpose. OPP. When that why meets up with your passion, your opportunity, your purpose, then you'll find out. The most important day in your life is the day you remember why you were born.
I think you just have to toughen up. Plain and simple. I think that's like first of all, you have to tell yourself it's hard in the beginning, and you have to just fight through it, because what else are you gonna do? Like, if you keep crying, keep complaining about things not happening to you, then you're not using that time to actually make the small things happen. Because everything starts off small. There's no like A to Z. You have to go to B first. Everything starts small. It's like you have to be grateful for what you can get. Plain and simple. Like, be grateful for what you have, because that's like, we're lucky to even be here. Being grateful and being present. The power of being present and like really, really being beholden to the gratitude of what you have. People see the 30%. They don't see the 70% of not making it or not getting what you want. And you say what you're gonna do what you're gonna say.
When I'm on the stage, when I'm playing, there's no greater high that I can experience in my life. It is the absolute pinnacle. Drugs cannot reach the high that I'm getting. I let the moment and the real raw connection I'm having bring me to that level. Strangers, people I don't know, that I'm connecting with in a very intimate way, in a really raw way. When you see someone like crying in the crowd and they're singing your song and they're in this moment of full like freedom, and to connect with that at that moment gives me chills down my spine. That is my ultimate high. And I'm so lucky to do what I do. You better just give 100%. Love what you're doing, where you're at. Because after that moment's gone, it's gone. I mean, most people, when they think of success, they think about money. Like, how much money did you make? That is absolutely not the right way to think about success. Success is how you feel about yourself. And success doesn't have to be this grand moment in your life, because that just doesn't happen. There's no grand moment. They're all little moments. I think success, it's like, at the end of the day, it's what you make of it. For me, it's just, you know, finding happiness within yourself.